Meditation is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself because you are taking time to step away from the incessant, constant thinking, moving activity of your daily life. Meditation is the core practice, the fundamental piece of my life that has helped me transform in so many ways. My teacher, Sally Kempton, she emphasized routine and the setup of your space as a very important part of developing a successful meditation practice.
First of all, thank you for joining us, everyone. Here is Louise and Pernilla. Pernilla, the founder of the website Awakening 101, and also the founder of this podcast, The Awakening Process of 101. And I am Louise, her best friend. And we have done this podcast to share our awakening journey with you in different ways. And how do we use this in our life? How to become more aware, away from the autopilot, in that sense, open our lives up to more opportunities.
This podcast, it's a conversation about awakening and transformation through life's journey. Thinking about what are the things that we learn in life that actually might be painful or hard, but that then opens us up for further transformation and discovery. Today, we are doing, I guess it's going to be number one in this meditation series.
Yes.
And it's a little bit, compared to our prior podcasts, I would say that it's more practical because for both Louise and I, meditation is the core practice and the fundamental piece of my life that has helped me transform in so many ways. These days, we talk about meditation more from a reduce stress, improve clarity, induce a sense of calm in our life. And yes, we get all those things from meditation. And very little meditation will give you some of that, actually. What I want to also emphasize, it is on a spiritual journey. It is also the doorway to your inner self, God, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just the larger aspect of yourself, your soul. So meditation is the door to see that or find that within you. I began my meditation practice with 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the end of the day 20 years ago. And that's all it took. I mean, that was not overwhelming for me, but it did already help that little time. I guess I just want to preface this by saying we're not asking you to sit for an hour a day. But for me, that 1 minute twice a day, I noticed that I felt more embraced somehow. I would say, I used to call it like it's the bookends of my day. But that was enough for me to keep practicing. Right now, I always refer to meditation as my best friend because it's my inner energy that I can connect with that is a nurturing presence in my life. It's such an incredible opportunity that can transform your life. So today our theme is the meditation routine. My teacher, Sally Kempton, she emphasized routine and the setup of your space as a very important part of developing a successful meditation practice. And successful, I'm not saying thought-free. Successful meditation is that you actually maybe do it 1 minute a day for a few weeks. That's successful.
First of all, I would like you to define meditation, what that is for you, because it's a very large theme. If you can define just how you find your way of what meditation is for you. And then also I would like to hear about your journey, how you started off 1 minute a day and how you developed that to where you are today.
Okay, for me, meditation is very formal. It's the practice of meditation. You sit down, you close your eyes, you set the timer, and you meditate until the timer goes off. You close your eyes and you use various techniques. I mean, We'll get into this in the next episode, I think, the technique, the following the breath, watching your mind, being aware of your thoughts, witnessing your thoughts.
You listen to whatever is falling out from moment to moment.
Yeah. Listening actually is a very good beginner practice. Just listening to the sounds around you, because that puts you in the present moment. So for meditation, for me, is the practice of formal meditation. But what it leads to is a sense of stillness and a sense of inner peace. When I talk about meditation, I'm not talking about when you're on your surfboard waiting for the next wave, even though that is also meditation because you are at one with that moment. And meditation is the muscle that you train to be at one with your moment. It's the muscle that you train to be fully present. So in this podcast that we're talking about today, we're talking about the routine around formal meditation, which I believe can then translate into your life.
No, it's coming back to why today's theme is the routine and the setup of meditation is if it's difficult to start to meditate by having the setup and putting this into routine that you're going to tell us about, then that will help you to support you into the practice, into this journey, so to say, because there is no destination. It's a journey.
Exactly. A lot of people think, and they sit down and they're thinking about a gazillion things, and they're like, I can't meditate. This is awful. I'm not going to do it. But that's not how we begin. That's not actually really relevant to a beginning meditation practice, thoughts or no thoughts, because there's no way that you won't have thoughts. There's no way. So I just want to clarify that a beginning meditator should never expect to sit down and have a thought-free mind. That's impossible. And the whole point about having an established routine around the meditation practice is to build a discipline around it so that with time, because the only way that there might be a pause in the mind stream of the incessant thinking is that over time you train your meditation muscle.
When we talk about having these routines, having this setup, there are several things coming into my mind. First of all, it's the thing of being worthy. You see meditation as a meeting with yourself. Like if you want to have clean teeth, you need to brush your teeth. If you want to sustain them for not having hole in your teeth, you need to take care of it. And the meditation could be the journey of how to start taking care of yourself. Because when you start becoming aware of what's going on, then you can start to respond to all the things that are, that you need in just of reacting onto them. And when you're talking about this little setup, I mean, you're having your toothbrush in your bathroom. And I think this is a little bit the same thing. You're putting up a little routine at home. As you said, you started with 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the evening. It doesn't have to be 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening because it's difficult to find that time. But just that little intention. And you also mentioned that of, prioritize this as you prioritize other things.
The idea of comparing it to brushing your teeth is actually excellent. It is a routine that we do without thinking because we've been trained to do it. I would say that if meditation is established and prioritized in the same way, it's like grace. You put in the time and then the energy of meditation will come to you. It's like you don't actually plan to brush your teeth. You don't put it in your schedule.
No, it's just
you
there.
have at some point after you eat breakfast, you're like, I'm going to brush my teeth. Or after I wake up, brush my teeth. It's just in there because it's an established routine. And I'm not saying we're heading there with the patient. I mean, that's what it's like for me now, but it's taken me a long time.
But the funny thing with that, just to say also that when you, at least for me, when if that happens like maybe once a year, I go out without brushing my teeth. It goes 1 minute, 30 seconds, like, oh, I haven't brushed my teeth. It's something missing. It's something so I think that when meditation becomes that you need to like, oh, I didn't check in with myself today. I didn't put myself into what you call, the divine space or into that higher power. So that's also, I think the routine is so important because it takes only 21 days to really put it into routine. And then you're there, and you want it.
My teacher, Sally Kempton, used to say that the spiritual path is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. meditation is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself, because you are taking time to step away from the incessant, constant thinking, moving activity of your daily life. And for your mind, even though you sit down for a minute and you have an experience of like an explosion of thoughts in your mind, because that's probably what's going to happen in the beginning, your awareness that is aware of those thoughts happening is still getting a moment of pause, and is still a moment of deep gratitude that you for a second are not in your thoughts where there is no conscious awareness. It is the greatest gift. At least I feel that way, and Sally would say that too. And if you think about it, the entire yoga system was built around the path to meditation. Yoga asana is intended to set you up for deep meditation practice, and that's thousands of years in the making. I love thinking about that, how powerful all those thousands of years of transmission into this one thing, this meditation practice that we can give back somehow.
I know that we're going to talk about the different ways of how to meditate in the next podcast. And now we're just talking about mainly having a setup and why meditation is important, and how you can put up these routines, where we're comparing a little bit with the brushing your teeth. In my mindfulness training, we would also say that brushing your teeth could be a way of meditate, because you're all there with all the senses. You're in the present moment. You can taste the toothbrush, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can. But coming back to when you started to putting up your routines, without making this too complicated, and without maybe not having too much space for building an own room or anything like that, but you said something like but meditation is free, you said. And I think that's like what I used to say in my breathwork classes, like the breath is free. Why don't we use it?
Yeah.
Take us a little bit into that, how to create a space and find the motivation to that routine.
Yeah, I had about 5 years sober, and I had been going to meetings and doing a lot of yoga when I was living in LA. And in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, step number 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Amazing. So after going to like a gazillion meetings, I heard that over and over again. So the word meditation in itself wasn't foreign anymore. Growing up in Sweden, there certainly was nobody who talked about either prayer or meditation. And then at the same time as this 5-year mark, I also met Sally for the first time. She came to my yoga studio in LA and did little meditation workshops in 2003. And because she was the way she was loving and present and nurturing, and I was enamored with her. And I thought, I think just her energy made me think, okay, well, meditation might be something I should try. Because it didn't feel, I always thought that it was something strict and sort of rigid before. The way that she taught it, it was more about a loving, nurturing connection with yourself. So I began by sitting on the floor in my little apartment in LA, and I would open page, 389 in the big book, and I would read half a page from there. And I would set the timer. Literally, I had a little timer, like a baking timer, for 1 minute. And I would do it before work and after work in the evening before I went to bed. I mean, I can remember that it had an impact on me right away. But also, because I had been to AA, you start developing routines. Like I go to this one meeting every week at 10 o'clock on Sundays.
But also your body experience the ease. When you go to a meeting, you always feel like, maybe that will be different for someone who goes into their first meeting or just going for a very stressful day, just starting to meditate. You had that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that the moment of silence for the alcoholic who still suffers at the end of the meeting when you're standing in a circle, holding hands, praying together, was that moment of stillness or connection that segued me into beginning a meditation practice, because they are related, because you're supported by that loving energy in that
I would just
moment.
get such a flashback when you said that.
Yeah.
That's such a wonderful moment.
It was always my favorite part of the meeting, is same as the Shavasana was always the favorite part of my yoga class, because that's a moment of stillness, like where you connect to your breath and you're probably not thinking specifically about what you're doing next, right? It's the one
Yeah.
moment of being present that probably for me was the first time I'd ever experienced
And
that.
also allowing yourself to just be without having to do anything, to perform or to be striving for something. You said something that I think is interesting, that you said in the beginning you maybe thought that meditation was supposed to be rigid, and that Sally actually gave you this energy that it was maybe more organic or more. Tell
You
us
know,
more about that.
I mean, it's so important, I think, to understand. Again, I'm not a Buddhist, but the perspective I had back then was that meditation was purely a Buddhist practice. And the few Buddhists that I had met in LA felt very,
Strict.
well, not strict, because that's sort of a negative word, but sort of dry. And it felt like a little bit like a school teacher student type of situation. With Sally, it was about love. All her students saw her as like she was a motherly, like a figure that we felt loved by and loved. So that's how she taught her meditation practice, which is a Hindu-based practice. I mean, she comes from the lineage of Kashmir Shaivism, which Kashmir Shaivism really is the study of Shiva, and Shiva means that God is everything. So if God is everything, then all your negative thoughts, all your positive thoughts are God. And everything that you have is already perfect. There's no need to strive for something, because what it already is created by consciousness. Everything that it is already awareness and consciousness, which is saturated by love. That was what she taught.
I just want to stay with what you're talking about there, because you're talking about the awareness and you're talking about the love. Couldn't you say that when you meditate, that's exactly what happens? It is the self-love and that awareness that you give space to with awareness.
Exactly. And that's when I sort of got a split second of that in my 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the evening. That kept me going, because I did feel that there was some presence throughout my day that supported me.
You could feel that it was kind of carry you through the day.
Yeah.
It was a strength.
Yeah. I don't know strength. It felt more like a warm blanket.
But the warm blanket it gives you
Yeah, support. Yeah. But then I think a few years later, I did several retreats with her. We had 2 years in a row, which we called the Transformative Journey in 2006 and 2007, which were year-long courses. The first one was 3 retreats. The second one was 1 long retreat in 2007. And that transformed my whole life, of course, because I studied with her closely. But after that, I took her book, which is now called Meditation for the Love of It. It was a different version before that. It was Awakened Heart that she had written earlier on, but she transformed it into the book that you all should read, Meditation for the Love of It. And in there is a 21-day meditation practice, like how do you transform your practice? And it's 21 days. And yeah, it was 4 years after I had begun. So it wasn't completely, I had a little time under my belt. And of course, I didn't meditate for 1 minute every day, twice a day for those 4 years every day. No, that didn't happen. I had like put my
But
toes
when
in.
did you
I dipped my
increase?
toes in.
When did you increase from 1 minute to more,
Yeah.
to longer?
So I did the 21 days, which is basically 90 minutes a day for 21 days. And it was right after I had done like a teacher training with her in meditation, which of course I had no idea. Why did I go to that? Like I had no idea. I was completely clueless. It was mostly yoga teachers and me, and I just wanted to be where she was. So I came along. But something happened there where I had a meditation where I felt as if I was in the space.
Mm. You were in the awareness.
Yeah, but like literally in space with the stars and the planets. And I was looking down on Earth. And because of that sort of shift in like the larger perspective,
Mm.
I wasn't caught in my everyday thinking about what's next and why didn't he call me back or ugh, I hate my job. It was more like I was stepped back into like the larger awareness in a way where I had a vision. I mean, it's a vision, it's not reality. Like I'm not in space, it's a vision. I understood that there was something more. So I came home and I scheduled my 90 minutes. It was, usually in the afternoon sometime. And I would literally go to the espresso machine and make a large espresso and sit down. And I had really bad knee injuries, so I sat in like a 90-degree angle, like I sat with my legs straight in a chair because I couldn't sit cross-legged for 90 minutes. And half of the time I was probably sleeping and just irritated and frustrated. After those 21 days of 90 minutes every day, I had real experience of what it felt like to be fully present.
But if you don't have the 90 minutes, for someone that would like to try this,
I say start with the 1 minute and then make it 5.
but if you want to have this journey that you did, like if someone is listening to this and, well, I meditate once in a while and I go to yoga and I have some
Yeah,
meditation at the
the
start of my
most
class.
important thing is to do it every day,
And then we get back, yeah,
regardless
and then
of the time.
regardless of the
So yeah,
duration, regardless
yeah.
the duration. So now we get back to the routine. So how would you set up the routine for this?
The most important thing is that you do the same thing over and over again for a certain period of time, let's say 21 days. Back to that 1 minute in the beginning and end of the day, it was at the same time, I think it was 7:30 a.m. I sat down on a pillow in the middle of the living room on the same pillow every day, and I read from the same page in the AA Big Book, and I set the timer on the same amount of time. That's way more important than thinking about how long it should be, because that comes later. So the same time, so let's say 7:30 a.m., the same length of time, and how it's super important to have a timer. These days I use something called Insight Timer, and it has these bells like the gongs, that you can use and set it at like every 5 minutes. So when I meditate for longer periods of time, every 5 minutes, the bell goes off so that I can it's like a mindfulness bell to like reconnect myself to the breath or have a moment of mindfulness. Like, oh, did I drift off in thought? Length of time and the space is also important, that you have you go to the same chair or you sit in the same spot. And the space, I like to talk about this because I'll see my husband sometimes, he's like meditating in front of the television with all like the little blue lights from the various machines. He's like right in front of it. I'm like, no, I know it sounds silly, but like don't sit in front of the television, because the television has a frequency and an energy that is disruptive to your mind. You're trying to calm your mind, right? So find a chair or a corner, which she would say sometimes, like just find a corner and light a candle, burn some incense, like create the space that induces like a sacred energy. Same place.
But there could
Even
also
I
be
actually
someone going for a walk and you go to the same bench every day and you sit on that
exactly
bench.
same
And
bench,
in
and then on the third day of you sitting on that bench, it's going to be
your bench.
much. Yeah, no, but you're going to find that the meditation energy comes to you faster. So if you had on the first try, you had like 1,000 thoughts a minute. Now maybe you have 500, because it's like an energy that you call out for that then comes back to you when you establish the routine.
Makes so much
So
sense.
it really does.
Mm,
And I also, the thing that I think about a lot is that I never, if I, like these days, I meditate at like 1:15 or 1:30 every day. And I meditate early in the morning too. But then I've had half my day
mm,
and I never just can't show up at 1:15 and sit down and start. I make sure that like right before, there's no phone calls. I can do like dishes and stuff like that before I start, but don't do something that or check emails, something that will lead your brain into a thinking pattern
mm,
about
mm.
something. Something like rudimentary, like doing dishes or making a bed or, just tidying up your space to prepare you for meditation. That is where you want to come in from when
I
you
think
sit
that's
down.
very important what you say that, because that's exactly what I would guide my students into if they go into a soccer competition or whatever. You need to prepare yourself what door you're going to open up to. And I have exactly the
Hmm.
same routine when I sit in front of my computer. When I open the emails, I'm prepared to open up my emails. And not just something I do.
Hmm.
I need to prepare myself knowing that, okay, whatever comes here, it could be a good email, it could be a bad email. How would I respond to this? So I
Hmm.
think that what you say, guiding yourself up to meditation, exactly, brush your teeth, do your dishes, tie your bed, prepare your corner, light the
Hmm.
candle, the incense. It doesn't have to be more than a minute or two before, but
Yeah.
you should lead up. That's why, when you walk to a bench and you sit outside or you go for a walk, you're kind of walking off the thoughts. So then you
Hmm.
have an easy
So you
space to
walk
land.
and then you sit down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you
Yeah.
land. So you don't have,
Hmm.
I think it's very important to where you come from. If you come from a stressful situation, then it takes time to wind down. So you should
Hmm.
be aware of how do you enter your meditation and where do you come from. And of course, maybe you
Hmm.
don't have a choice. Maybe you run off with the kids and you need to
Yeah.
drop them off at school and you're feeling, oh, I'm in the car and it's traffic and you come home. But then accept that. Then accept just
Hmm.
knowing that you are in another energy, but you're going to bring into another energy. That awareness will
Hmm.
also support you into your meditation.
I love this idea, and I think you bring this up a lot. That and it's not actually with awareness; it's actually with awareness of awareness,
Yeah.
because you were always aware, because you're always experiencing your life, right?
Yeah, but the awareness
You're
is
aware
always
of your
there, but you're not always aware of your awareness.
exactly. That's what I was getting
Mm,
to. If you don't have time to do setup, to saying, okay, I'm aware of the
mm,
fact that I don't have the time
mm,
and it feels a little rushed, but I'm aware of that.
mm.
And then it's okay.
Yeah,
It's when you lack that awareness of
you become
that it,
frustrated.
and it's just,
Mm. I want to bring
but,
one more thing into this, because now you said that you meditated 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the afternoon, and I just wanted to
mm-hmm,
compare that to my Buddhist practice. I think that
mm-hmm,
while we meditate in the morning is, you're going out from the dreams, the energy from the night, all the unconscious thoughts are present somewhere in your body and in your heart. And when you do your meditation in the morning, it's also an unconscious action of cleaning your space inside, of
mm-hmm,
letting go of whatever has been working unconsciously in your mind or in your body. And then
mm-hmm,
also when you're tapping out of the day, it's very nice to take a moment of reflecting of the day, what was good, what was not good. But then also when you do it in the evening, you're kind of closing off the day, so you
exactly.
can let go. So I think that having that practice not just once a day, but maybe early in the morning and once in the evening, it's a very good start, because you
Mm-hmm,
also train your awareness of how your meditation have developed and helped you through the day.
mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm,
I also think it's important, we don't want to put more things in our schedule if it doesn't benefit us.
mm-hmm,
If it doesn't give us that we feel like, I'm actually feeling better of this, then it becomes worth it and we want to do it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is that the whole idea around being aware of the experience that we're having, awareness of awareness. The way to even increase that ability to be aware of our experience is through meditation. This is one of the greatest tools to increase the capacity of being aware of our own experience, which then, like Louise says, it then starts bleed, like that awareness can sort of bleed into the rest of your day. But meditation is that tool to get you there, because reminding ourselves to be aware might be hard. But with meditation, the practice of meditation, where we actually, at least for maybe a second, are aware of our thoughts. We're aware that we're breathing. It's not just I'm breathing like it's just happening because we breathe. It's actually, I can now feel myself breathing, so I'm aware of that experience. It's a muscle that we train to infuse into the rest of our lives. Should we meditate?
Yes, let's please do.
Okay. Okay, so just close your eyes. And right away become aware of your breath. First thing I do when I begin my meditation is I focus on the air as it comes in and out of my nostrils. And I just sort of rest there for a bit at the beginning. Just feeling the air coming in and coming out of your nostrils. This is a core practice. So if this is all you want to do for a minute, that is perfectly fine and a great practice. I'm just going to take you a little further in. Just become aware of your thoughts. Just imagine you're sitting in a movie theater alone. And there's a movie playing on the film screen, but there is no sound. You're just watching the actors and the events on the screen as everything unfolds. You're aware that you're watching. Just imagine that your thoughts are playing out on that film screen. And you're resting back in your chair in the movie theater. You're watching your thoughts. And you are detached from them. You can see that they're not part of you. You're aware that they're there, but you are not your thoughts. Just resting in this observer state. Ask yourself, who am I without thoughts, feelings, or perceptions? We are awareness. Take a deep breath in, out. Take a snapshot of the movie theater and imprint it into your mind for the day. To see if you can move in this observer state, move around in your daily life. Move your focus back to the tip of your nose as the air comes in and out of your nostrils. Slowly open your eyes. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
I think that there's two practices there. The one where you breathe in and out through your nose, and the one in the movie theater, which is like a very classic meditation instruction. But you can use those in that minute. I mean, the meditation focusing on your breath is very simple, and it's hard actually in the beginning because you're like, what am I doing? But just come back to the breath and the feeling of it going in and out of your nose.
Thank you so much.
But next time, I think we're gonna talk more in detail about the various techniques that you can use and do some practices. All of the practices, including the one we did today, is going to be in a separate bonus track so that you can just listen to that along with your meditation if you need to or if you want to. So
wonderful. Well, thank you everyone to listen, and thank you, Pernilla.
thank you, Louise.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day out there.